Here, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean P, the Bluff Guy. Hey, and we back at it again with another reaction video. Q said, "Let's go." Yeah, man, let's get it. Let's get it going, man. I'm glad you was able to make the stream today. I know you didn't make the stream yesterday, but it's all good. I get it. It is what it is. Things, technical problems, but it's okay with me. But yeah, so today we will be reacting to One Piece YouTube content creator Sawyer7mage. I've reacted to his stuff before, but but yeah, so today's video is the Inherited Well Within Devil Fruit Powers One Piece Chapter 1040 review, Big Mom's Defeat. That's the title of the video we will be reacting to. The link to this video will be in the description box, so make sure y'all go give your boy Sawyer7mage a like and all that good stuff. But before we get into the actual video, first let me say, make sure you show your boy some love and like the stream, and also subscribe. We are currently running a giveaway that I'll get into in a second, for my subscribers, exclusively for the subscribers. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, and on my Facebook page, as well as if you're looking for a One Piece community to be a part of, we have a One Piece Facebook group and the One Piece Discord. But Cube in the chat, he says, "Give me my Jolly Roger." Hey, bro, I mean, so far you in the lead, so I'm just saying, so far you in the lead. You're the only one that followed the directions, so as long as if nobody else follows directions, you definitely may win. I might have to give you both of them. I'm just saying, I might have to give you both of the Jolly Rogers. You give one of your friends or something. I don't know, but you should tell your friends to make sure they subscribe and be a part of the giveaway. If they want one, they should have to earn it, right? They should have to earn it, just like you trying to earn it. But you said was pissed off for yesterday, was a great chapter. Excited for this one. I wanted to check it out. Too was planning to forwarding with you. Yeah, I was kind of looking at videos today. I was, I was like, what, might as well just see what some other YouTube One Piece content creators think about the recent chapter that we got. So that's why we're doing this. And as far as the giveaway that I'm doing, I pretty much gave you guys the details on yesterday's stream, the chapter 1040 discussion stream. So if you want to know how to be a part of that giveaway, make sure you go back and check that stream out, because I give the details. I'm not giving the details again. You guys have to go look at the chapter discussion. And as well, another thing, I have subscribers that I guess are fandom. Like they don't show up on the list of subscribers, right? On my list of subscribers. So, and I think that's because you guys have your things private to where I can't see that you're subscribed to me. So if you do, let's say if you take part of this giveaway and you somehow win the giveaway, and I can't tell if you're a subscriber or not, then I can't help you with the giveaway. I can't give, even if you win, I have to be able to verify that you are indeed a subscriber. So what I ask from you guys who are subscribers, and you're kind of like fandom subscribers or whatever, I would ask that make it visible for me to be able to see that you are indeed a subscriber. I'm not too sure how to do that, but I I mean, maybe you guys have your YouTube, your channel on private or something. I don't really know, but I know like I got a certain amount of subscribers, and I can only see a certain amount. And then I even looked it up, and it says subscribers pretty much they can allow or not allow that their subscription be visible to the page that they're subscribed to. So there's that as well. But yeah, what else did I want to say? Yeah, so if you guys want to know how to be a part of this giveaway, I suggest you go to chapter 1040, the most recent chapter discussion stream that I had. Check that out. I talk about it in that stream. Now I don't talk about it in the beginning and I don't talk about it in the end, so you can't just go there and just watch a couple, the first minute of it or the last few minutes of it and get the information. It's in the middle of the stream. It's buried in the stream, so y'all have to go check out that stream. But yeah, so today I kind of wanted to get an idea of what the community, what the One Piece community is talk about with this last chapter. From the title of this stream that we're doing, it talks about inherited wills, right? It's talking about the inherited wills within Devil Fruit. Now, I'm kind of assuming this might have something to do with Big Mom pretty much having that monologue when she was in that bubble that Law pretty much created, that almost acted similar to Corazon, right? So now I don't know if the whole time she was like out loud kind of talking within this bubble, or if some of it was her talking and then some of it was kind of her thinking back to conversations she had with Goldie Roger, because that's kind of what it sounded like. It kind of sounded like it was almost like a flashback conversation, almost. Not like a flashback, but like like she's recalling a conversation that she had with Roger, right? So I'm kind of thinking that might be what she's what she did at that moment, but I'm not too sure. So I kind of want to get some other ideas, and I think that this might be emphasized in Sawyer7mage's chapter review. So we're gonna see what it's about, and let me know. Let me know. Was this whole, like, when she was talking to Roger, supposedly, was that more so part of the monologue when she was in the bubble and nobody could hear her, or was that kind of a flashback type of a dialogue with her and Roger, even though we didn't really hear Roger talking or anything, but we just heard her talking to Roger. So you guys let me know. Cube said inherited will in Devil Fruit is really the thing I love to know more about. Love Sawyer's work, so can't wait to see his take on that. Yeah, we're gonna get into we about to get into the video. But as far as the inherited will with Devil Fruits, man, I think there may be something to that, right? There may be something to like Devil Fruits passing on the will of like previous owners, possibly. Even though something like that, I feel as though could get, I don't want to say convoluted, but like, let's say if a specific Devil Fruit had like multiple users in its time frame, in its time of existence, right? Because from what we know, the history of the One Piece world is at least possibly like 2,000 years old, at least over 1,000 years, right? Because we had the Void Century, right? So, and that was probably like over 800 years ago. So, I mean, and I don't know exactly how long the One Piece world has been around. somebody remind me in the chat of the knowable history of how long the knowable history is of One Piece, as far as from the earliest moment in history in the One Piece up to now. Like, how many years would, somebody let me know how many years that is. If y'all know, if you guys know, let me know. But so I would think that to have so many years, like, let's say the Gumu Gumu no Mi, right? It could have had like at the very least 10 people may have wielded it, you know what I'm saying? May have had it in their lifetime. So I would think, like, would Luffy get maybe kind of like a piece of personality from each of those guys? Because that, I feel like that can kind of mess somebody's mind up, right? To have so many different personalities wrapped up into one devil fruit, and that person eats that devil fruit, and they kind of take on all these wills and personalities and stuff. It could seem pretty messy as far as what it could do to a person, right? Due to a person who consumes the specific devil fruit. But I don't know. But let's get into this video. I talk long enough. Let me give him a like as well, since I'm doing this video. Let's go. So we start off with the Vinsmoke brothers.
Hello everybody, so today the cover starts off with Niji and Yonji having a flashback, and I thought this was interesting for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think it's cool that it shows that there were consequences to them staying behind, so it's the price they had to pay to create an opportunity for Luffy and Sanji to escape Whole Cake Island. But also, this is a memory that they have, and we know for a fact that Pudding is right there, right? And we know that Pudding can manipulate and edit memories. So I think the fact that Oda's showing us this now pretty much confirms that he's setting up Pudding to do something with her devil fruit power at some point during this cover story. So last week we were talking about how there were certain similarities between the action here and the action back in Whole Cake Island, because, at one point
I want to ask you guys, especially Cube, since you're in the chat. You didn't really you wasn't here yesterday when I was kind of talking about the cover story. I want to know your guys' opinion on where this cover story could potentially go with the Vinsmokes, right? Because I already talked about it in yesterday's stream, and I want to say one of the previous chapters that's when I want to say the second chapter in the cover story, right? Like the first cover story chapter we got with the Vinsmokes, it was with Judge, Ichiji, and Reiju. And then the second one we got was, we found out that Niji and Yonji was in the book, right? That they was prisoners. They was held prisoners in Whole Cake Island in Mondor's book. Now, I already talked about it, but I believe that this cover story has to eventually come back to the Straw Hats, right? Like, I believe that Judge, Ichiji, and Reiju might go to enlist the help of the Straw Hats, right? So, or Sanji specifically, right? Like, they might go ask Sanji for help, and the Straw Hats as well. And this may be the start of us getting some type of resolution with Sanji and his family, because we see in Wano, loud ass motorcycle, but we see in Wano that Sanji still has that he still doesn't really want to be associated with the Vinsmokes. He doesn't want to wear the raid suit. He was scared that his body was becoming like his brother's. So, I was always of the belief that there need to be some type of resolution where Sanji needs to pretty much get over this beef with his family and, use the raid suit. Like, not be afraid to use the raid suit. So, yeah, I believe this is kind of that opportunity. This is going to be that opportunity where Judge might come ask Sanji for help. Sanji might at first be a little reluctant to help, but then maybe the Straw Hats might convince him, and he does, and then somehow this may resolve their issues, right? Like, and I'm not saying Sanji's going to be like, oh, I love you guys, nothing like that. But I'm just saying it's going to be to where he will be more accepting of being a Vinsmoke, right? So that's kind of my take on it. You guys let me know what you think where this cover story may go, or if it don't go anywhere. I don't know. You guys let me know. And I also think this will also a moment like that where Sanji, where the Straw Hats help the Vinsmoke, it could set up for eventually the Vinsmokes becoming very valuable allies later down the line in the story, especially with this upcoming war that we're going to get. So yeah, you guys let me know.
Point, Brook tried stabbing Big Mom in the same place where Law tries to stab her, and Brook was unsuccessful. So stabbing her didn't work back then, but it worked for Law now. And Capone tried to shoot her with a rocket launcher, and that didn't work either. But then Kid uses a railgun, and it works this time. Then there's this huge explosion in Whole Cake Island, just like there is here. And that sends Big Mom falling, just tumbling down. And then eventually she gets hit by a giant blast, which leaves her in a huge crater, in a huge hole. But back then, that didn't really hold her down either. So it just seems like a lot of the action from these recent chapters is sort of mirroring the action that we got back in Whole Cake Island, except this time, the attacks seem to have a greater effect on her. Now, I do have a question after this chapter, and I think it's a good question to sort of just reflect.
Well, in regards to that aspect, I would say a lot of it is because Big Mom has kind of been fighting a lot more often. So she's at this point, she's a lot more worn down than she was in Whole Cake Island. You know what I'm saying? So trying to stab her while she's full health, as opposed to stabbing her while she's a lot weaker, you're going to get different results. As well as I think how Law's, when Law stabbed her, I think it worked a little different, because I feel like in the recent chapter, correct me if I'm wrong, yo. In the recent chapter, he said it does, the stab doesn't really hurt or anything. It was more like that shock that happened afterwards, but I don't know. That's a tough. I just feel though I can't exactly remember what he said about that specific ability, that awakening move that he did. So I feel like he said something about the stabbing not actually doing any damage or something.
Upon and come up with their own conclusions. I think it's important that everybody comes up with their own answer for themselves by themselves. And the question I have is, did Big Mom really need to be in this arc? Did Big Mom really need to be in Wano? Because if you look at the Wano arc as a whole, I think it's pretty obvious that the weakest parts of this arc relate to three things. The weakest parts of this arc involve either Tama, the Scabbards, or Big Mom. And I feel like Oda could still fix...
I disagree with that. But I do kind of agree with the Big Mom part. I don't think she should have been in this arc, honestly, because I feel as though having two Yonko in one arc being a dual antagonist, it kind of made it to where the odds was so stacked against Luffy's crew, to where it was it just don't seem realistic to have to defeat two Yonko in one arc, right? So I don't know. I've never been a fan of. I'm glad he brought that up, because I never really hear anybody talk about. I never hear nobody talk about why Oda chose to bring Big Mom there. I mean, it does make sense, the fact that the fallback of Whole Cake Island, but it was man, I didn't like having Big Mom come to Wano, because if it was just Kaido, if it was just the Alliance having to defeat Kaido, I feel as though the writing to it could have been better, because you could have used all the Supernova to specifically focus on Kaido specifically. Now, unless Big Mom is going to eventually betray Kaido in order for him to be defeated, I would have been okay with that. That's part of the reason why I've always said that I think Big Mom might betray Kaido. Because I think that's the only real positive reason of having her in Wano, is to almost be that foil for Kaido. You know, even if they was working with each other for a little bit and then Big Mom eventually betrayed him, I think that would be the only positive of having Big Mom here. But if she's not going to betray Kaido, it's like, I thought it was a bad idea. I personally thought it was a bad idea, and I still do think it's a bad idea, because I feel as though it should have been the supernova against Kaido, not breaking the supernova in half and have Luffy fight Kaido and then Kid and Law fight Big Mom, you know, and then let alone beat her, you know, because now we're gonna get two Yonko get beaten in one arc, and then it's like it kind of dampers the image of the Yonko, right? You know, I don't know. I just wasn't much of a fan of that decision to bring Big Mom there.
Two of those things in this arc. Like, he could still do something interesting with Tama, like maybe turning out to be a Kurozumi or something. Like I said before, maybe she can use her devil fruit power with Tsunisha to free Tsunisha from the curse. And then he could still do something with the scabbards where, like, he decides to finally kill some of them off and have them have an honorable death. But with Big Mom, you know, I think it's pretty obvious that her time in this arc has come to an end. So if her character is going to pay off at some point, it's probably going to happen outside of Wano. So again, the question is, did she really need to be here in the first place? Because we know that she wanted to make Luffy pay for what he did to her in Whole Cake Island. And we saw her have that conversation with Kaido on the Dinden Mushi. And so I thought that her train of thought was going to be, okay, I know that Luffy says that he wants to take down Kaido. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but I'm going to let him go to Wano. And instead of going to Wano myself, I will head over to Elbaf. Because in the off chance that Luffy defeats Kaido, I know that ultimately, to become king of the pirates, you need to pass through Elbaf. There's something very important there, and I know that people need to get to Elbaf at some point. So I'm going to go to Elbaf. I'm going to wait for Kaido to take out Luffy, but in the off chance that Luffy defeats Kaido, I will be at full strength, and I'll be waiting for the Straw Hat Alliance to show up in Elbaf. So from what I can tell, the fandom is pretty mixed. It's pretty split in terms of how they feel about how this Big Mom situation was handled. There are several groups to this. So one group is already checked out. You know, they're done with Big Mom. They're like, we're done. Like, this woman has been in the story for long enough, so let's just move on to the next thing. Then there's a second group that wants Big Mom's status as a Yonko to be legitimate, to be respected, which automatically would mean that if Big Mom is going to be defeated, she would need to be defeated in a fight that has more depth than what we got. And then there's another group of people that are just happy to read One Piece every week. And then there's me. After I finish reading the chapter, my first thought is always, okay, how do I make this into an interesting, thought-provoking review for people? So with all those groups, with all those sides to the fandom, Oda decides to go with this scenario, which is kind of like the scenario where he gives everybody a little bit of what they want. He doesn't please everybody 100%, but he gives something to every one of those groups. And so that automatically comes with a lack of closure, right? So we're kind of left hanging in this intermediate state of limbo. Because even though the Oda box declares Law and Kid to be the winners of the fight, we're still kind of like, well, are they though? It's kind of like a Schrodinger's cat scenario. So Big Mom is defeated, but she's not really defeated. She's dealt with. Ultimately, I do think
she's defeated. She's defeated. Yeah, she's defeated. Being dealt with is a defeat. That, like, you could probably say, like, she ain't defeated in the sense where, like, she's gonna be down for good or anything, but she lost the fight at the end of the day. She lost the fight. You know, if Long Kid are the winners, that means she's the loser, and if you're the loser, that means you've been defeated. But I do get what he's saying though, and I believe, like I said, I believe that having Big Mom come to Wano was a mistake, because then it was like, how do you realistically beat two Yonko in the arc? You know, without people having problems with it, or without, you know, people questioning it, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it was kind of like Oda kind of wrote himself into a bad spot bringing Big Mom to Wano.
I think that the fight could have been handled better, specifically when it comes to the characters of Kid and Big Mom. I think they don't get to shine enough. I think Law outshines them both, and he outshines them both by a pretty significant margin. So if we look at the fight as a whole, Law would end up looking like up here, and then Big Mom and Kid would be down here. So I do think that it's important to have a healthy equilibrium, right? To have a healthy balance. Ultimately, though, Big Mom's time in Wano ends the same way it began, by falling.
Let me see what it said. I want to read what those comments said. Said it's safe to say Law is the most complete One Piece character. Good guy, great design, incredible backstory, really good, relevant end goal, smart, cool, dripped out, incredibly OP. He devil fruit and he also uses a sword. Law's too amazing. I mean, he's cool. I wouldn't say he's the most complete. I would probably say Garp is probably. I mean, especially when we get a Garp backstory. But even without a backstory, Garp has been probably, you know, the best written character so far without the backstory. So once we get it, bro, that's really going to do a lot for his character. And then next comment says, fun fact, in the German dub of 3,000 Leagues in Search of Mother, the protagonist Marco was voiced by Manu Lebowski, who years later would voice Trafalgar Law in the German dub of One Piece. Oh, I thought it said the German. In the German dub of 3,000 Leagues. Okay. I never heard of that series or show or whatever. Last comment says, Kid is a boss when he's even able to make someone like Big Mom attractive. Okay. Okay.
The chapter starts off with Big Mom tanking Kid's electromagnetic beam, and one of the things that I think is impressive about this first page is the length of the hole that Law made using Kikoku. It kind of reminds me of the secret elevator entrance that we saw Apu use. So now I'm wondering if the explosion inside of the tunnel that we see by the end of the chapter could actually create a pathway for Big Mom to reunite with her children and leave Wano. Regardless, Big Mom activates Soul Pocus, asking for 50 years of lifespan from the people around her, and you kind of see this Hokey rush around her, which is something that we saw in the last chapter as well, as she kind of healed her bones, right? So we get the same thing here as she's trying to absorb these souls into her. So I'm guessing that she has to be using Conqueror's Hokey here to some extent with her ability, because what Soul Pocus allows her to do is to impose her will on others via intimidation. It's the same thing she tried to do with Jinbei back in Hokey Island, and it didn't have any effect on Jinbei. And so the same thing happens here with Kid and Law. Both their wills are pretty strong, so they're not intimidated by Big Mom, so their lifespan doesn't come out of their bodies. And I feel like this would be a pretty good test for Usopp to go through at some point, to test his willpower against Big Mom. Now here Law decides that he's going to pull a Kakashi, turn into the copy ninja, because he actually copied Corazon's Devil Fruit power. And so when Law did that, it kind of left me wondering, well, okay, if Law can do this with his Devil Fruit power, then why does Corazon's power exist in the first place? I guess we could trace it back to the idea of superior Devil Fruit powers and how some Devil Fruits have like hierarchies, right? So for example, Oven's Devil Fruit, the Heat Fruit.
I ain't gonna lie though. Corazon's Devil Fruit's kind of, it always been underwhelming to me. Like, wow, you could, like, from what we see, I mean, I guess, and we haven't really seen a lot from it, but it's like, oh, wow, you could create a bubble where people can't hear. I mean, it's good in certain situations, but outside of, like, very specific situations, it's kind of boo boo. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of boo boo. Like but okay. In Corazon's line of work, I could see how it could be very useful, but still, it's kind of underrated. It's kind of underwhelming to me, because it's like, how does that translate in the fight? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I guess if somehow you was in like a dark room and you could make it quiet to where only you can hear, that could be pretty dangerous because you could nobody hear you coming or anything. But it's still like, man, it's just been kind of underwhelming. And Cube says, in my opinion, the best written character for me is Odin. Odin was a great written character. I mean, I can't knock it, honestly. I can't knock your choice. I just think Garp, I just think Garp is, but I don't knock your choice because I love Odin's character. I love Odin's character. He was just, he might be in my top 5. I might have to put him at least top 10, at the very least top 10. But yeah. Cube says Corazon is a supportive devil fruit. It could be OP, but the user needs to be a Mihawk or something. Again, I'm underwhelmed by it. I'm sorry. It just, I mean, like I said, in specific situations, I could see how it could be very useful, right? But in like battle, again, in specific situations, even in the battle, it could be useful. But even then, like, what are you gonna do? Like silent blast? Or you gonna throw like some silent slashes? I mean, again, if Mihawk had it, as far as like being a swordsman, I don't know how it would actually like boost him. Boost him. Unless, like, as a spy, if Mihawk was a spy, maybe, but as just somebody who just is a sword fighter and, like honorable fights, I don't know. I don't see, maybe, and a lot of it might be because I didn't really see Corazon really use it to, like, in a lot of situations. If I remember correctly, the only time we really see it being used was when he was having that conversation with Corazon in like an alley, and then when he pretty much had to, or not, I said Corazon, when he was having a conversation with Law in the alley, and then when Law was in that treasure chest and he got shot by Doflamingo while Corazon was hiding Law, and then he pretty much hushed Law up so Doflamingo couldn't hear him. Like, again, very specific situations, you know what I'm saying, with very specific goals in mind. So, but other than that, I don't know how that would really be that great of a devil fruit. But let's continue.
Seems to be an inferior version, a weaker version of the Mera Mera no Mi, of the Flame fruit. But then the Flame fruit is an inferior version of Akainu's Magu Magu no Mi. So maybe Law's fruit was a superior version of Corazon's fruit, because both of those fruits create rooms. They have like these, transparent domes that they create. But then I'm also wondering if this has something to do with the concept of inherited will, where like with Luffy, when Luffy lost Ace, right? Ace's will kind of got inherited to Luffy, and so we saw the activation of Red Hawk. Like in the 3D2Y special, when Luffy uses it for the first time, he actually says, wow, this is Ace's flare, this is his flame. So I'm wondering if something similar happened here between Law and Corazon. Then again, Luffy's fire could also be connected to Sun God Nika. So if Luffy inherited Nika's will, which I'm pretty sure that he did, and since we know that Nika was called the Fire God, then that gives us yet another explanation for why Luffy can use fire as well. It just goes back to Whitebeard's final speech in Marineford about how somebody will eventually inherit Ace's will, and in the future a figure will show up, and that figure will be carrying Joy Boy's will as well as hundreds of years of history on their shoulders to challenge the entire world to a fight. Also, this is just me, but I think the reason for why Law's soundproof technique is called R-Room or Room with double R is because the R stands for Rocinante. And sort of on that note, I do want to mention that this is one of those few and rare occasions where the anime, or at least the beginning part of last night's anime episode, goes very well with this chapter, because it starts off with Law heading towards the poneglyph, and as he's walking, he kind of hears Corazon's voice. And the way that the anime decided to show Corazon's voice is via some sound waves. So it kind of makes it seem as if the anime is already foreshadowing Law being able to use Corazon's devil fruit power. And so again, we currently have 2 devil.
Yeah, I noticed that, man. Like I was watching the anime. I was watching the anime yesterday, You know, because I watched it after the stream, and I was like, man, like we got a chapter with Cortisone, and then we start this anime off with pretty much a conversation with Cortisone and Law. You know, Cube says, I see the silence devil fruit being a devil fruit similar to the invisible. The user needs to be extremely creative, but I get you. I to me now I disagree because I think the invisible devil fruit has more use, right? Because when people fight, they rely a lot more on their vision, like being able to see that person, you know, being able to see that person, and and it's like when you can't see them, it's hard. Like it's hard to fight somebody you can't see. You know. Now, if I can't hear you, but I can still see you, that's not that hard. It's still. I can still keep up with you. I can still fight you. I can still fight you now. If I can't see or hear you, then it's gonna be tough. That's why I said if. That's why I say like I could see it being useful if it was like in a dark room, right, where he just made it where he put a barrier against his target and they can't hear him and they can't see him either, and you know he's just able to attack him freely, kind of like Tosin, right? From Bleach. Tosin, he was the blind captain. He was the blind captain, and he fought Kenpachi at one point, right? And he created this big bubble where it was just darkness, where like all of Kenpachi's senses, I guess, were null. Like he couldn't hear nothing, he couldn't see nothing. I mean, I think he could feel. I think he was able to feel, but he couldn't hear or see nothing. And the only thing it didn't really work against Kenpachi because Kenpachi was just like, look, I was able to. I guess I can feel. Like I guess he was able to feel. So I guess it's not all your senses, but I guess he was able to feel when the sword was touching him, and he just reacted with it, you know. So, but just like if the person could still see you and you just throw a bubble to where they can't hear you, it's like, you know, unless let's say you threw some stars, right? Like you threw some ninja stars and they were just like, you could control them and the person couldn't hear them and they were just hitting them from like different angles, right? So I mean, I don't know. You know, again, like you said, you got to get super creative with an ability like that. But even then, you know, it's a situational thing, you know. Unless you can create the situation to work in your behalf, then cool.
For users that are both paramecias that are able to use the power of a loved one that has passed away. We have Law with Corazon and Luffy with Ace. I remember there was a scene in chapter 1002 where Kaido uses Boro Breath on Luffy, and Kaido's fire doesn't do anything to Luffy. And Kaido's surprised. He's like, wait a minute, like how come my flame doesn't work on you? And Luffy says, guts. But now I'm thinking that it's more related to this inherited will, that maybe there's something there, you know, maybe because of Ace's fire, like Luffy actually inheriting that, it actually makes him immune to fire. And that could also connect to Nika, like I said, similar to what happens here with Law and Corazon. And I think what's interesting too is that both of these characters that have inherited these powers, both of them happen to be members of the family of D. So maybe there's something special about the will of D that allows members of its clan or members of its family to inherit more than one devil fruit power. So because of Law's technique, Big Mom can't ask Misery for help, so Kid keeps the pressure on her with the electromagnetic cannon, and then Law turns around to slice Misery in half. Now what I find interesting here is that the way that Law cuts Misery is the exact same way that Zoro cuts Monet back in Punk Hazard. So if you remember back in Punk Hazard, it's specifically stated by Toshigi that Zoro did not use Hokey to cut Monet. And so what happened back then is that Monet was actually cut in half by intimidation, which relates to this chapter as well, because the way that this chapter opens up is with Big Mom using Soul Pocus to intimidate Law and Kid. So Law and Kid pretty much nope right out of that one. So in a way, it's a clash of wills, and that connects to the way that Zoro was able to cut Monet, and also the way that Law is able to cut Misery. And again, I mentioned this last week, but I also think it's important to remember that Kikoku, Law's sword, is a cursed sword. And then also Misery is supposed to be a combination of Prometheus with Hera. So Law's attack kind of makes it seem as if he's dissecting Misery and splitting Hera and Prometheus apart. There's even a more basic explanation to this as well, which is the fact that we've literally seen Brook be able to cut Zeus in half. And as far as we know, Brook doesn't have Hokey. I always assumed that it was because of Brook's soul powers though, but he is capable of cutting one of Big Mom's homies in half, just like Law does in this chapter. But the reason for why I just...
Yeah, I think it has something to do with Brook's soul power. I don't know I guess when it comes to Law and Misery, how he was able to cut her, I think that might be attributed to Law's ability, because he can, he can split things, and like he can control, I guess, space and time to a degree, right? Like he has a control over space and time. So it's something like he can kind of cut the space in between them. It's just something to do with his devil fruit ability. Same with Brook. Brook can really, I think Brook, him being a soul king and, being able to use his music to control souls, and the fact his devil fruit is attributed to souls. I think Brook just in general is just, he is just very, like good. Like he just has a knack for dealing with souls, right? Like he just has a knack for dealing with souls, or anything that has to do with the soul. Partially because it's devil fruit, partially because music. Like his music and everything. Think about it, soul music, right? That's why they call him the Soul King, because he makes soul music. So he's just well equipped to handle souls. Yeah, all in all. So yeah, I think that's more of a Brook ability, or Brook devil fruit thing, and what Law did is kind of a Law devil fruit thing. I don't know if I would compare him to what Zoro did though. You know what I'm saying?
Decided to bring up Conqueror's Hokey into this in the first place is because if you go to the anime, if you go to episode 833, when Big Mom activates Soul Pocus and she tries to use it against Jinbei, everything is pointing to her using Conqueror's Hokey in combination with her Devil Fruit power. You have the intimidation factor, the sound effect is there, people faint out of intimidation, so she's clearly using Conqueror's Hokey along with Soul Pocus in the anime against Jinbei. So Big Mom finds her way to the basement as she falls. She grabs a bomb that goes off, and Yamato creates a shield of ice to withstand the blast. Well, and then it's also a matter of protecting the other frozen bombs from going off. And so the ice coupled with the blast from the explosion ends up creating a steam wave that conveniently ends up diminishing the Kazenbo. Kanjiro's been pretty persistent though, so I really wouldn't count out the Kazenbo just yet. Now, as Big Mom falls, she begins to blame Roger for the things that have happened to her. And I remember back in Hokey Island, like, Luffy kind of called her out on this behavior, because she tends to blame other people for her failures. So Luffy was like, wait a minute, Big Mom. If you haven't become king of the pirates, that's on you. So don't go around blaming other people. Don't go around blaming Lola for not marrying Loki when it's on you. You're the one who hasn't become king of the pirates. So we see the people inside of Onigashima tumbling because of the explosion, and in 2 of those panels, Oda actually reveals to us some pretty important information. So by him placing the Brook and Robin panel before the Zoro panel, it's like Oda is literally yelling at us, hey everybody, guess what? The Grim Reaper was not a gag. It's actually not Brook. It's actually something serious. Now Zoro's actually lying down in a...
Yo, I didn't. That is a good point, because I did not even really notice that, because I wasn't thinking about that chapter where we see the Grim Reaper, right? Because if it was indeed Brook, he would have been right. Like when they showed Zoro, he would have been right there with Zoro, right? Him and Robin would have been right there, So. Again, it might actually be a Grim Reaper or something, Dang, like it might be. We might be looking at a real Grim Reaper, You know, because Zoro was staying like laying down there bombs. Well, then again, hold on, because I don't want to say that because we just see a shot of Zoro. We didn't see like his surroundings or nothing, or like the full scope of his surroundings. So not that I remember. Maybe I had to look at the chapter again, but yeah, at least it does debunk the idea that it was Brook though. It does debunk that idea.
A pool of his own blood, and he's in a completely different position than when we last saw him, because before he was face up, now he's face down. And last time he was saying that he couldn't move his body, but apparently he can, because otherwise, how is he face down now? And I've read people saying that just like Oda drew the personification of Zoro's swords, that maybe the Grim Reaper is actually the personification of Enma, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because Enma is the only sword that Zoro has that is constantly trying to kill him. Plus, there's still that plot point about Enma becoming a Black Blade that needs to be addressed. So maybe that's linked to this. So the blast crumbles the ground that Zoro is on, and we see him fall. And now I'm wondering who's going to catch him. I don't know if Sanji has recovered already, but if he has, he can use Skywalk. But then also we haven't seen Marco in a while. We see that Hiyori has put on her Kitsune mask as she's playing the shamisen. That's typically the way that Oda likes to open and close acts, with Hiyori wearing the mask, playing the shamisen. So there's that. And then we see that.
Yeah, I thought we was about to close the act though. I was like, dang man, like it took all this time for us to finally close this act. But it was not in a closure of the act though. We still in the same act. I thought it was interesting though.
The Super Bowl Sunday of fights comes to an end as Fukurokuju succumbs to the fire. So I read some comments saying like, man, how can Big Mom be defeated this early? Like if she actually gets defeated here, she'll be going down before Fukurokuju. So Oda decides to make a joke out of that and say, well actually no. For your information, Big Mom actually ends up falling a couple of seconds immediately after Fukurokuju.
In terms of jerking people around, but I may have gone too far in a few places.
So we see this huge silent explosion near the flower capital, and of course, the people in the flower capital can't hear anything because of Corazon/Law's double fruit ability, which I think is kind of cool too, because like those people have gone through enough already, so let them have at least one night of peace. And then we get the Alabasta box that declares Kid and Law to be the quote-unquote winners of the fight. They both look pretty drained in the following page, more so Kid than Law, which is strange considering that Law said in the previous chapter that after performing Puncture Wille, he wouldn't be able to do much of anything. It's like Oda changed his mind about Law's stamina in between chapters. We get to see some premature celebration in the live floor there, and we cut to Yamato and Momonosuke to end the chapter with a lore drop. So the new piece of information that we get here is that Sunisha and Joy Boy were actually cool with each other. So they were pals, which actually changes a lot. I already talked about how it could have been Joy Boy the one who used the awakened power of the Gomu Gomu no Mi to stretch out Sunisha's legs. It would be very similar to the stretched out trees, apples, and animals that we see in Long Ring Longland. And again, according to Tonjit, the nomad who lives there, he says that the reason for why animals grow so long is because they are able to live in freedom without any restraints. So that could be the awakening of the Gomu Gomu no Mi. Now, one of the things that I've mentioned before is that I've always had a problem thematically with Tama's double fruit, because it actually goes against one of the main themes of the story, which is freedom. So now it seems like it was actually somebody in the world government who fed Sunisha the Kibidango to give Sunisha that order against Sunisha's freedom. So the elephant has been walking around for ages because it was punished by the world government for being Joy Boy's pal. Now what's interesting is that when Roger and Odin go to Zoe, both of them feel very uncomfortable there. They say that there's something strange, that they can't explain it, but it feels like they're being watched by something really big. And then immediately after, we cut to a shot of the whale tree. So they say they feel like they're being watched, they're being seen. And so now I'm connecting this to another double fruit power, which is Viola's double fruit, which is the Glare Glare fruit, which is pretty invasive because, you know, it could see your insides, but it could also see your thoughts. So that also goes against your freedom in a way, if you think about it. And what's interesting about that is that Viola's power allows her to create whales out of her tears. So maybe her double fruit power or her awakening was used in Zoe at one point in the past. And I think what's interesting too is that Sunisha's eye, the design of Sunisha's eye, is literally identical to the design of Emu's eye. So does that mean that Viola is actually Emu? No. I don't think so. We don't have enough information or enough evidence right now, so making that claim would be a really, really...
Viola being Emu. Yeah, bro, that would be wild. That would be the... I don't know how I would feel about about that. I wouldn't feel good about that if Viola turns out to be emo. Man, damn, Viola, shoot. I ain't gonna lie though. Viola won the top 5 bays in One Piece. Top 3 probably. Top 3 or 2. Cause I got like Robin and Reiju up there. And there's a couple others, but yeah, I'm just saying. Let me stop.
Big reach. But I do think we have enough evidence to say that
But I do think Viola's hella underrated though. As like when we talking waifu, like One Piece waifus, I think Viola is underrated because she's definitely one of mine.
world government was actually responsible for giving Sunisha the order that actually infringed upon and went against the elephant's freedom. And so as Luffy tells Doflamingo, who by the way happened to be a celestial dragon in the past, Luffy tells him that those are the types of people that he hates the most. The people that restrict freedom, the people that try to manipulate and control others because they make him feel like he can't breathe. So it definitely feels like the world government has been keeping an eye on Zou for a while now. And like I said before, I think it's kind of obvious that Tama is going to be using her power to sort of release Sunisha from that bond, from that order, so that Sunisha is free. And I also think it's interesting because Higurashi, who's a Kurozumi and who was the one who sort of convinced Orochi to take over Wano, she actually had a speech that was very similar to Doflamingo's speech in Marineford about how people who are in power are the ones that decide what's just and they decide what's right and wrong. So that's kind of what Doflamingo was saying in Marineford. That's what Higurashi kind of tells Orochi. And so since Doflamingo was a celestial dragon, I'm wondering if Higurashi also had something to do with the world government. Because if Tama turns out to be a Kurozumi, just like Higurashi, then it would also make sense, right? Why Tama has the devil fruit that she has. Because maybe the world government always wanted Tama's devil fruit to stay within the Kurozumi clan. So maybe there's always been a secret partnership, a secret alliance between the world government and the Kurozumi clan. And I guess the world government didn't count on Tama being a good person. The Kurozumi clan definitely needs to be redeemed in Wano, and I think Tama's going to be the one to do it. I want to go back to Big Mom's speech that she had.
Man, that's a heck of a speculation to say that Otama is a Kurozumi. I don't look. I don't have nothing to prove. I would like to see some, I guess evidence behind that. And I know he's just kind of spitballing probably, but I would have to, for me to really kind of believe to buy into a theory like that, I would definitely have to see some type of evidence. You know what I'm saying? Again, he might just be spitballing. It might not be like a real theory or speculation that he has. It just might be something he just kind of might have thought of on the fly. But yeah, I would definitely have to see some evidence on Otama being a Kurozumi. Dang. Like who? I'm trying to think, because like you think how young she is, and Orochi was probably one of the last Kurozumis. Like who would have birthed Otama? If Orochi, I don't think Orochi's her dad. You know what I'm saying? So like who would have birthed her? I don't know. Because from what I know, I feel like Orochi and Kanjuro are probably like the last of the Kurozumis, right? So, given that and looking how young Otama is, those two would have to be the only two potential fathers for her, right? But I mean, I guess there could be some other Kurozumi in hiding as well. I guess there could be, but we don't know of any. So. That's that.
As she's falling, where she's blaming Roger for starting this new era of piracy. Kind of takes me back to Roger telling Rayleigh about how he's not going to die, and Dr. Herolook's words about how a man only really dies if he is forgotten. Because what Big Mom is saying here is that after all this time, Roger is still having an impact on her life. He stole the road poneglyph rubbing from her, he got to the One Piece, and then he said all those things before he died, and a bunch of people started rising up to get their hands on the treasure, which would ultimately eventually lead them straight to her because she has one of the road poneglyphs. So again, this chapter connects very well with the beginning part of last night's anime episode, because in the episode Robin tells Law, if you want to be able to read the road poneglyphs to find out the real meaning behind the Will of D, there's only one way to do that, and that's by taking down the Yonko. Now, one of the most important things that Big Mom says as she falls is that she begins to question, like, the One Piece, right? Is it real? Does it exist? It better be. Better be real. It better exist. What is it? Where is it? And then she says, some of it is in this country too, isn't it? So obviously we know that there's a road poneglyph in Wano, which, you know, if you connect that with the other three, that leads to the One Piece. But there's definitely more to her dialogue than that, because she also says, I'm so close. I'm so close to figuring it out. And I think that's kind of true. I think there's some truth to what she's saying. I've said this before. I think that whatever the One Piece is, or at least thematically, the One Piece has to be about bringing people together. That is the number one thing that I think the One.
I definitely agree with that. You know, I mean, we've been watching so many theories about what the One Piece could be, right? And you know, I've said before, like one theory, I would believe that it is something like, you know, a plan, right? Like that was one theory I said. It's a plan to unify the world, as in getting it's an instruction, right? It's an instructional, maybe poneglyph or something, where it has instructions on what you need, everything you know, like everything you need in order to accomplish turning the world into one piece, right? But then, you know, if you was with me when we watched the Arthur Library of O'Hara series, right? His theory is that the One Piece is nothing. It's simply sake, right? It's sake. So, and if we look at the history of this series, sake is looked at as something that brings people together, right? Like every time you have two characters exchange sake cups, it's usually them almost creating a connection. It's them saying, okay, you're my friend now. You know, we're friends. We drink together, so we're friends. And it's kind of a you know, tradition in Japanese culture, as well as just a lot of other cultures, right? You know, when you look at how it is in America, you know, a lot of times people like to go have a drink with their friend. You know, you might go grab a couple beers with your friend or something. Or let's say you have some type of event at your house where, you know, you watch the Super Bowl. You know, we had the Super Bowl yesterday. So I'm pretty sure there was a lot of people who had Super Bowl parties. And most likely at this Super Bowl party, they had beer or some other type of alcohols. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. But yeah, I'm sorry, guys. My shoulder probably working out and stuff, so my shoulder a little hurting right now.
One Piece is going to lead to. It's going to lead to some kind of universal sense of peace and unity. And so if we look at Wano, which is what Big Mom is referring to about there being a hint about what the One Piece is in Wano, we find that Wano is a collection of different islands brought together. Same thing with Long Ring Longland, which, as I mentioned before, that's kind of where the Gomu Gomu no Mi left traces of its awakening. But even beyond that, we know that Lunarians, who are the race of King and Nika, or at least we assume that Nika was a Lunarian, we know that Lunarians used to live at the top of the Red Line. And there's a moment in the manga where Nami says that at the top of the Red Line, or if you look at the Red Line as a whole, the Red Line is actually a stretch of land that has different types of islands with different weather. Now that panel from the manga, that piece of information was actually deleted from the anime, because as far as I looked, I tried to find that scene in the anime, and I just couldn't find it. So again, to me, that's kind of like, you know, the people, the staff kind of saying, like, we can't have this. You know, this is too much of a hint. Just take it out. So again, the One Piece has to be about bringing people together. And the reason for why I think Big Mom is frustrated and she says, I'm so close to figuring it out, is because that's kind of what Totland is in a way. It's a connection of different islands with different people. But the problem is, and again, I'll stress this, right? The problem is that she's not going about it the right way. Because not only does she use people for her own personal gain, but she also intimidates people into staying in her territory. So she wants to force that sense of unity. She wants to have that utopia at the cost.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I say I feel as though Big Mom isn't necessarily bad. You know, like I think her intentions are usually, you know, like I feel as though she has good intentions. You know, she likes to bring different people, you know, like weird people who may be looked at as outcasts as other places, right? You know, like people from the long neck tribe or the long leg tribe or the long arm tribe or minks, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to put. She has a diverse set of people within her country in her crew, right? Like even some of her kids are different. You got Puddin, who has 3 eyes. She's from the 3-Eye tribe. You have I think I can't remember who that fishman was. She was like a mermaid, but she was married to Aladdin or Aladdin, right? So she's married to him, and she's one of Big Mom's. She's like one of Big Mom's daughters as well. So you got a fishman that's one of Big Mom's kids. You got a 3-eyed girl who's one of Big Mom's kids. You know, I can't really think of, you know, all the, you know, a bunch of other names, but she has a diverse people in her country and her crew. So I believe she has good intentions. You know, she likes to bring people together, but it's just how she goes about it. That's what kind of makes her bad, right? That's what makes her more of a bad person. Q says that Super Bowl halftime show was as hype as a One Piece overtaking scene. Yeah, I haven't seen the halftime thing, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. I heard it was pretty good. A lot of people saying it was like the best Super Bowl halftime show ever. I don't know. But let's finish this video out so we can wrap this up.
Of people's freedom. And so again, you know, freedom is the #1 theme of this series. We got a reminder of it with Corazon in the anime, with Law. And I think that's ultimately what the One Piece is going to be about. It's about bringing people together, but allowing people to be free at the same time. That's going to do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. I don't know.
All right, yeah, y'all go to the link in the comments, the YouTube link in the comments, and go give your boy Sawyer7mage a like. And if you like his content, maybe think about giving him a subscribe. You know, I've been following him for a good minute, so yeah. But anyway, to the some of his points, trying to think what I kind of wanted to talk about. I kind of had something in mind, but just fleed my mind. Well, I mean, yeah, like there's some stuff, of course, you know, I agree with he says. Some I disagree. I don't know if Otama is a Kurazumi. You know, I never speculated Nika being a Lunarian. I mean, he might be. I don't know. That's actually the first time I heard anybody say Nika could potentially be a Lunarian. I don't know. You know, could he? You know, the fact that, you know, like the like Nika is connected with like Skypeans, like the Sky people, and how Lunarians are, you know, they're like they might be a more of a distant race of Skypeans or Sky people, right? They might not be like, they're not Belkans or Belkans, Skypeans or Shadorians. They're like a different class, but I still think they're Sky people just like the other three, right? So, and we know that Nika has, you know, like Skype, that arc, you know, kind of foreshadowed Nika, right? So there may be some relation with Nika and Sky people, and so there could be a relationship with the Lunarians and the Sky people. And also the Lunarians were looked at as gods. So if let's say Nika was indeed a Lunarian, that could mean that, yes, seeing how he's the sun god and Lunarians are looked at as gods, that could definitely be a connection between Nika and Lunarians. Cube said it's intriguing because we know that Tama has a purpose. Yeah, and that's another thing. I disagree with him on, like, I mean, again, this is his opinion, so I'm not gonna knock it. He feels that the Red Scabbards, Otama, and I guess Big Mom they're like the low part of the arc, or they kind of, I mean, he says something along that line, like they've been the lows of this arc were always has something to do with them three, and I'm like, I don't think so. I don't hate the Scabbards. Like I think I love their little scuffle with Kaido, right? I like Otama, I like Otama and the potential she has within the story. Now, but I do agree that I do agree that I felt that it was unnecessary to have Big Mom and Wano. I do agree with that. And that's a thought. I haven't really talked about it because at this point it was like, well, it is what it is. Ain't no point in talking about it when it is what it is. But ever since she came to Wano, I was always kind of like, I don't like where this could go, because then it could just make it even tougher to make a believable defeat of Kaido, right? Because I always thought the most realistic defeat of Kaido would be at the hands of all the supernova there. Like if you had, when I say all the supernova there, I mean all of them. Maybe with the exception of Zoro, because Zoro I felt would have fought one of the commanders. But I mean, like Luffy, Kid, Law, Hawkins, Apu, Drake, right? Like those are all the ones that are there, and maybe not Killer. Killer could probably face a lesser opponent as well, just like Zoro too. But or at the very least, even if it's not all the supernova, at least Luffy, Kid, and Law, right? Like them all pretty much triple teaming against Kaido to defeat him. Me personally, I think that's the most realistic way to get a defeat on Kaido. But then you add Big Mom, and then it's like, now we gotta figure out a way to defeat her as well. Now, unless Big Mom's purpose was to help foil Kaido, I would have been okay with that. And that's kind of where I believe that Oda was going to go with Big Mom coming to Wano. But seeing how that never played out and how Big Mom has been officially defeated, or at least dealt with in Sawyer's words, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen at this point. So my speculation on Big Mom turning on Kaido has been wrong at least at this point. And I don't know if that's going to change. But Cube says, I disagree on his main points, but agree that Tama is important to the plot. Big Mom should have reappeared in Elbaf. See, my only issue with that now is to see Big Mom get defeated twice, right? I guess that would kind of be my issue. Is to see her potentially get defeated. And like at this point, what else does she have? I know she got a pretty OP devil fruit, and she has a very versatile and diverse moveset, right? So I guess she can pull out some new stuff that we haven't seen of her, but it's like at this point, it's kind of like I felt as though we got everything out of Big Mom, and anything else would be kind of a rehash. Kind of like what people tell me when I sit here and say, I think Blackbeard could get Kaido's devil fruit, and everybody say, well, if we get Dragon, that's like Kaido all over again. But in that aspect, it's not, because you got a guy with Kaido's devil fruit, but he also has 2 other different devil fruits. So now you can see how he can mix and match abilities from these three different devil fruits, right? Like, I think that you could make it very unique in Blackbeard's case. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see how Kaido throws like dragon breaths. You get Blackbeard in his dragon form throwing maybe black dragon breath, or maybe like earthquake dragon breaths or something. You know what I'm saying? I think this is a little more it's a lot easier to mix it up that way, because you got a character with 3 different devil fruit abilities. So he could probably take each devil fruit and combine them with different abilities, right? Like, he could create new abilities out of combos, different type of combos. But if we get Big Mom again, it's like, it's still the same character, it's still the same ability limitations, it's still the same abilities, it's still, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I would want to personally see Big Mom reappear, unless it's under different circumstances, right? Unless she's actually like, maybe she kind of has a change of heart and things, and she's not trying to defeat Luffy, and it's like, Luffy doesn't have to defeat the Big Mom. Then I'll be cool with it. But it's like, to see her have to have another go all out type fight, and which we know she's going to be defeated by Luffy if Luffy meets her in Elbaf, you know. So I don't know how I feel about Big Mom's reappearance in Elbaf, unless it's under different circumstances, you know. Yeah, unless it's under different circumstances, such as like she's not going there to fight Luffy, then I'm cool with it, you know. But to see her have to get defeated again, and we see the same attacks done the same way, that would be redundant. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's funny how, like, my theory on Blackbeard getting Kaido's devil fruit to people, that's like redundant and it's rehashing something. But you know, a lot of the same people want to see Big Mom go to Elbaf and be the major antagonist in Elbaf. It's like, you don't think that would be redundant, you know? Well, I mean, I guess you know, we didn't, at that point when people were saying that, we didn't get Big Mom, a full-on Big Mom fight with 2 supernovas, and she get defeated. So, you know, I will concede to that point, but still, you know, that would be my problem. At this point, that would be my problem with Big Mom reappearing in Elbaf. Now and again, unless let's say Big Mom betrayed Kaido and left and bailed on Kaido and whatever, and then went back to Elbaf, or went to Elbaf and she was defeated there, I would have been cool with that. But again, you know, how the pieces fell at this point, Big Mom coming back to Elbaf would probably be a little redundant, especially if she's coming back as the main antagonist, in my opinion. But you said she shouldn't have been in Wino, but make her second return in Elbaf. I do agree, though. I don't think she should have been in Wino as well. You know, but she was. Not only was she in Wino, she was defeated. You know, so, you know, that's that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for the stream, everybody. You know, it's a good stream tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna be streaming tomorrow. If I don't stream tomorrow, I'm gonna definitely stream on Wednesday. And the next video I'm gonna be streaming is I'm sorry, I got like these smoothie burps, man. Every time I drink that smoothie, it be having me burping. Or when I drink my smoothies, they sometimes I start burping. Next video, I got planned because I do have a video planned. A lot of time I don't have. Some of these times I do these streams, I don't have a planned video. But since I have one planned, I could have done it today, but I'm gonna probably do it either tomorrow or Wednesday. And that stream is going to be Elids. Elids, he dropped the video on Saturday. I forget what it was. I forget the what video it was. I know he was telling me about it. He was telling me he was dropping a video like last week when I had him on that stream. He said he was going to be dropping the video Saturday. He dropped the video Saturday, so I'm gonna be checking that video out. And he said he wanted to hear my opinion on it, so I'm gonna react to it. I know I told you guys that I'm trying to stay away from reacting to all these Elids videos because I feel like I react to all of them every time he drops a video, I react to it. And I feel like I want you guys to go check his videos out and not check them out through me. But he said he's cool with it. He don't mind me reacting to it. Matter of fact, he wanted me to react to it, so we're gonna react to it. We're gonna definitely react to it. I don't have the name of the video at the moment, so I don't even remember what it's about. I don't think it's a understanding Hokey video, and I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the Red Sea video. Like it might be a continuation of the last video I did of him, but I don't remember. But anyway, it's your boy Sean Peter Plump Guy. Hey, and y'all go make sure you like the stream and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Right now I'm doing a giveaway. We're in the middle of it. The winners will be announced this Sunday. Now you probably asking me like, well, how do I win? How do I win? That's easy. I'm not going to tell you, not right now. But if you really want to know how you can win, then watch the discussion I did yesterday. One Piece Chapter 1040 chapter discussion that I did, yesterday. So the most recent chapter discussion I did. Check that out. I'll say it in the stream. So, that's going to be up to you guys to check that out if you want to win the giveaway. I'm giving away one of those to 2 subscribers, I got 2 of them and I'm giving one each, right? So if you want a nice little room decoration or, you could put it somewhere else. I don't know where you have, maybe you already have one of those. But is having another one really a bad thing? I'm just saying, is it really a bad thing? I mean, you could put it somewhere else. You could put it in your living room. Maybe you got one in your bedroom. You could put it in the living room. You might have one in the living room. You could put it in the bedroom or your office or, wherever. Put it in your car. I don't know. Wherever you could creatively find to put it, you do that. But yeah, guys, I got some stuff kind of planned for the channel. I kind of want to discuss with you guys. Maybe some in one of these later streams during the week, I'll open up to see what you guys think. But yeah, make sure you follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, on my Facebook page if you're looking for a One Piece community to be a part of. We have the One Piece Facebook group. We have the One Piece Discord. All of those linked in the description box below, as well as the link to the video that we reacted to just now. So y'all go to Sawyer7mage's page and like the video. Give him some give him some love, show him some love. Anyway, I'm out of here. It's been great. Y'all have a good evening. I am gone.